Hi, Senator Lincoln Fillmore coming to you. It's Friday afternoon up here at the state capitol. I've stepped out of a committee hearing just briefly so I can update you about what's gone on. I want to talk to you about two broad issues today, one of which is the base budgets and the base budget process that we just went through, and also want to talk to you about the tax cut proposals that I'm working on, both by myself and with Representative Tracy Miller, who is many of your representative in the state legislature. So first, talking briefly about base budgets, the state legislature this week, we passed a slate of 10 budget bills that kind of set the base. It basically ensures that last year's funding is still in place so that if anything weird happens before day 45, we have budgets in place. If there's negotiations, we can't come to agreement, or if there's an earthquake and things shut down, budgets are in place. Funding is going to flow. Agencies are going to be protected. Public education is going to receive, a $400 million funding increase, and other agencies are going to be protected, and that's all in place because of the base budgets. The process of getting to those base budgets lasts nearly a year. So over the course of the last year, all of our budget committees have been looking at different proposals and have asked state agencies to send in information of if we were going to make a 5% reduction to your budget, where would that come from? And so we asked a lot of state agencies, really every state agency, including the State Board of Education, to come up with proposals about what are the lower priorities that we might look to find savings. And that process has been really helpful to us. Because even though I don't think that those funding reductions are going to be put in place, it did help us identify obvious places where we can find savings, where we've been appropriating too much, right? We give them $1 million, they only spend $600,000. So there's no sense continuing to appropriate $1 million. We got to be able to take some back and redirect it. And there are several programs like that. We found areas in different budgets where things are done inconsistently or duplicatively, and so we're going to use those to reduce government spending in a responsible way. And because Utah has such a responsible budgeting process and outcome, a balanced budget amendment to our Constitution so that our budget is balanced every year, we are again looking at the potential of reducing taxes this year. So I want to talk about two proposals that I'm working on. The first is a proposal to set up revenue targets so that if the government, state government, is collecting more money than the combination of population growth and inflation, that our first course of business ought to be to try to return some of that to taxpayers. And so we set up targets in a bill, and so if we collect that much money, then a portion of that excess will be automatically used to reduce the income tax rate. I like that proposal. Other states have done it and have really increased their economic growth, economic outlook, economic performance. And I'm hoping that we can bring the same thing to Utah if that's something that we feel like we can pass. The second of those is a proposal I'm working on with Representative Tracy Miller, also from South Jordan, and that is an expansion of the child tax credit. This would make between 12 and 18,000 families newly eligible for the tax credit by increasing the income cap. As life has become more expensive, baby formula has become more expensive, food for your kids has become more expensive, transportation to and from school, and as Utah's birth rate is falling, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support growing families. There are thousands of them across the state, a large portion of them in our district, in the southwest corner of Salt Lake Valley, where it's still possible for young families to buy a home. And so we're working on that together, and I'm hopeful that that can pass also. That said, there's a lot of other things going on. I've appreciated your emails about elections and the budgets and judges and other topics. So please continue to reach out on my email or my cell phone. The number of those will be on the screen. I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll be back in touch with you again next week. And I'll look forward to hearing from you in email or phone calls. And one last invitation, I've welcomed some constituents on the floor with me this week. And if any of you would like to take advantage of that, I'd love to have you up here joining me so you could see the action on the Senate floor as we adopt and pass bills. Again, thank you so much and have a great weekend.